Very good. Welcome to episode 8 of In Progress. This is a very special episode. It's the Newlywed Chronicles. We have 4 newlyweds, 2 couples. We have Josh, Saleh, Janice, and Daniel. Why don't you guys just give a quick sentence? Just a quick sentence. Who are you? And why are you here?
Just me start. I'm Saleh. I am here because I'm a newlywed. What else do you want to know?
How long have you been married?
We've been married for 2.5 years now.
Okay.
Yeah, so not super newlywed, but still very newlywed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Very good. Who's your husband? Who's this guy?
Josh.
My name's Josh. I've also been married for 2.5 years.
Good.
To
Glad
Saleh.
that's lined up.
And I had something great to say, but I can't remember. I'm sure I'll think of it later.
Yeah. Great analogy of marriage.
Yeah.
Great.
Okay, I'm Janice. We've been married since May last year, which is May 17th. Which now it's April, so that's like nearly a year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very good.
And
I'm Daniel. I'm here because suddenly I received a text message from Alistair. Hey, boys. Now, I'm Daniel. I've been married same time as Janice.
Mm-hmm.
So we've been married for 11 months, going very strong.
Very strong. Very
so
good.
far.
Well, guys, this is not something we normally do on the pod, but I thought because this is a special episode, we do something special. I've got you each a gift. I've got you some hot chicken flavored ramen.
Wow.
Now,
Down.
anyone
My
that's
favourite.
familiar with this, I can't say the brand because we're not sponsored, but anyone that is familiar with the hot chicken ramen will know that the pink one is spicy because it's going to be a spicy episode, but it's also like white people friendly because I didn't know what your guys' like level of. Yeah, I have not had the pink one. Okay, full disclosure, I've only had original Samyang. I've only had the original Samyang, like the orange.
It looks
I
really
wouldn't say
good.
This is as spicy as the normal, though. I actually think
Yeah.
this is my favourite. So.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah.
I would say not super white person friendly because
Yeah.
I don't eat meat.
Yeah, but I don't,
Extra
I
white.
don't think it's real chicken.
have
It's like
Surely there's
it's like chicken
Surely it's-
flavor.
Artificial chicken flavor, you're right.
Artificial, see? That's what you want. No
So-
one wants real chicken
That's
flavor
how you know it's the
in
good
their
stuff.
in their ramen. It's
Yeah.
from
Wow.
Korea. So it's going to be good.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
right.
All right, now, ladies, you need to have a microphone. We're going to play a quick game. I didn't put this in your notes because it was
Okay.
going to be a surprise.
Yeah.
Oh.
Now, ladies,
my
you are going to
chicken.
answer for the couple. And I'm going to ask you questions.
Okay.
And you got to answer the first thing that comes to your mind out
Oh
of
my
the two of
gosh.
you. Okay?
So is this like, it's a competition?
It's not a... Oh,
But
we
only one
could
person
make it a
answers.
competition. Oh, that's
No,
interesting.
that's okay. We don't have to.
No, I just want to hear the answer from both of you. Okay, question number 1.
Okay.
Who's more likely to forget where they parked the car?
Me.
Me.
Okay, who's more likely to start a deep conversation at midnight?
Me.
I think Dan, probably.
Who's more likely to burn dinner?
Wait,
Josh.
have I got this right? It's between like I'm answering,
Yeah,
but it's
yeah,
towards-
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
say me.
Wait,
Who's
There's only 2 options.
I was like, wait,
who's
is
more
this
likely
like
to
a
burn dinner?
competition?
Yeah, definitely Josh.
Dan. Yeah.
Dan. But you,
No, Josh.
Josh. Oh, okay.
100% Josh.
Ooh. Who's more likely to cry during a movie?
Me.
Who's more likely to say sorry first after a fight?
Ooh.
I'd say me.
Maybe Josh.
Oh, very nice.
Maybe.
Who's more likely to suggest a spontaneous road trip?
Maybe me.
I think also
Do you
me.
think it's you?
I think Josh would like to, but he wouldn't think about it until I said something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true.
Who's more likely to leave clothes next to the laundry basket?
Oh, Dan.
Josh.
Who's more likely to overpack for a weekend trip?
Me. Yeah.
Definitely me, yeah.
Okay, let's swap marks for the last few. Who is more likely to fall asleep during movie night?
Oh, that's hard. Okay, Janice then.
Yeah, Saleh would like get up and go to bed, I think.
Oh, just halfway through the movie, she's
Yeah.
done.
It's past my bedtime.
I know how this ends. Who's more likely to plan a romantic surprise?
Oh,
Me.
a little bit me.
Very good. Who's more likely to quote Bible verses mid-argument?
Oh, me.
Probably Probably Saleh. I don't know.
Oh, interesting. Who's more likely to actually accidentally send a text to the wrong person?
Oh, I think Janice.
No, I think you've done that a few times.
But the thing is, I don't reply.
Oh, yeah, true.
Probably me, I think.
Okay. Who's more likely to want 5 kids?
I mean, none of us, but maybe me. I mean, I come from
Maybe
a big
me
family.
as well.
Mm-hmm. Who's more likely to say "I love you" first in the day?
Me.
Me.
Ooh, nice. Who's more likely to check the budget while in the store aisle?
Oh, me. 100%.
Yeah, me. Nah, Saleh. She's the
I can't believe that you just try to take credit for that.
budget queen.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny. Okay, so you guys have been married for a little while. We've kind of got that across the board. Give me your kind of thoughts. I'm interested to know on like your idea of what first year of marriage would look like, and then what it was actually like.
Okay.
You guys are in the middle of you're like
Right.
at the end of the first year, so I feel like
Yep.
you have good insight.
I think for me, it's more like adjustment, obviously.
Mhm.
Like we never lived together, and then suddenly we live together, and then somehow we got a dog. I'm not a dog
Somehow,
person,
what, you just came home and there was one there?
but it's pretty cute dog. I'll take it back. I think it's adjustment that I thought is gonna take longer, but actually we did pretty well. Just like every now and then, we never really have a big argument so far. Not anymore, maybe. Yeah.
Not anymore, maybe.
But yeah, I thought it's gonna be harder, like combining our lives because Janice used to live by herself. I lived with my sister in the past, and I lived by myself before that. And now we join together. It's not like we live with our parents in the past, so it's a bit different. We still have the freedom before we got married, but now just be together is easier than I thought so far. What about you, Janice?
Any counterpoints? It's been horrible.
No, I would say the same. I think the start was maybe a little bit harder. So just that initial adjustment, which I think we kind of knew going into marriage that there would be those things. Like you always hear it's like the toilet seat up, or like they leave the toothpaste cap off or whatever, which I don't think we really had those issues, but it was maybe more like our differences of opinion. And I think I generally can be quite like stubborn. And I think I was also very much like, this is the way that I do it, so you also have to do it that way as well. So I think though that was probably our biggest adjustment at the start. But I think now we're getting into a bit more of like a rhythm, and we kind of, I guess, have maybe a bit more grace for each other. And yeah.
Sounds fantastic. What about you guys? What was the first year like for you guys?
I think the expectation for us going into it was like we were looking forward to it, obviously, but that we would, I don't know, there's a few things you want to have. You want to have like privacy because you can finally live together, and you want to have like good connections in your community, and anything else like stability. And we didn't end up having that because we made the decision to go traveling 6 months in, and so that sort of threw a spanner in the works. That's all I can really think of. I have a bad memory for things like this. So Saleh, do you want to go for it?
Saleh,
Yeah, I agree. I think the first year for us was, I think when we were here and when we were like in a stable position where we like had a house and we had stable income and like a good friend group and like family around us, it was really good. And it was kind of everything that we expected, like reasonably easy and reasonably like seamless. But then when we went backpacking, we kind of removed all of our stability from our lives, and a lot of change was happening.
Yeah.
And we had just like started living together, and now we were like in spaces where we were extremely unstable, and like money was tight because we were backpacking. Like we really gave ourselves a difficult start, which we thought was going to be, and like backpacking was awesome, but like hard in many ways as well, considering it was our first year of marriage. Yeah.
That would actually be really funny because it's kind of like a pressure cooker, right? Because if you're in the same house, you can kind of like get a bit of space.
Yes.
So like if it's like, oh, you're really annoying me, it's like, well, I'm just going to go to the other room. Even if you got 2 rooms, right? At least it's like, well, I can get away from you. But it's like backpacking. It's like, well, you really annoyed me today.
Yeah.
And now I'm stuck here
100%.
with you.
Or you're like in a hostel room with 12 other people and you're like, how do we even argue? Because we're like in a public space. Like, is this so inappropriate to start yelling, or I don't know. Like,
We were talking about this just before we came in, but we had a way while we were traveling of like, if we recognized that the mood was shifting, or like there would be some days where we could just tell we weren't on the same page is what we said. And so we came up with this way of checking or dealing with it. And it was like, we would look at each other and like we were in a mirror, we would do this.
Oh my gosh, you're kidding.
And that's how we would realign onto the same page.
Oh,
But it really
God.
just made us both laugh.
Yeah.
And then the mood was immediately better.
Yeah.
and like addressing that you're not on the same page is half the step that it took for us, I think. Being like, man, we're really just gonna get into a big argument now. Let's just stop. Like, let's just chill out because you're not understanding me at all. You know, like we're in totally different like planets right now. But yeah.
How did fighting change from dating / engagement to married? Did it change?
I think for me, wait, sorry. Sit there.
Go.
Oh, sorry, guys. I'm super sorry.
I have something to say.
Sorry. While it's hot. It's interesting for me, my mindset when you're dating, if you fight, you got something to lose because you don't have any like, you're not in a committed in a way. You can just exit right away. So right now, if we fight, I know the mindset is like, oh, it's okay. She's gonna be fine. You know, like, like
She's stuck with me now.
With me. Legit.
She signed the contract.
So it's easier. I don't know. That's funny. That's my thought.
Yeah, and I think also maybe when you're dating, you're a bit more careful with each other. Like you're just getting to know each other. So I feel like the fights maybe weren't as honest and they weren't as like, I wouldn't completely tell you everything compared to now where I feel like, and maybe that's just because of time and things like that, but I think we're a bit more like to the point and like, this is what's wrong. And yeah, this is what needs to change.
But I think the trust does change significantly, right? Because once you've entered into the covenant and you're like, cool, we're in it now. It does. I think it does change the mood of like, oh, okay, well, we are going to live together now forever.
Yeah.
So like, we kind of have to sort this out.
Yeah.
But also, I know that you're committed to me, and
Yeah.
so like, if I bring this up, it's not going to be like death.
Fighting against the problem, not against each other.
Oh, hello. Tell us more. Tell us more, Josh.
I just want to quickly ask you guys as well. The engagement, like between dating and marriage, what happened with arguments there? Because it was fierce with us. There were,
No.
and I think
same.
it's because there's moments of like, if I'm gonna marry you, like
Ooh.
X,
Let's
Y, Z.
talk. Okay,
you know?
what was some of the stuff
Yeah.
you fought about when you were engaged? This is interesting.
I think we probably had one of like our biggest fights when we were wedding planning, and I think that was also just like the stress of
Facts.
everything because it's such like a big event, you know,
Yes.
and you're just like, I am spending so much time planning this, like, and spending so much money on this. And
Totally
it's not
agree.
even just like wedding planning because you're also living your life, like you're going to work and you've got like social commitments and whatever. And I think there was one night I think we were talking about like the guest list or something like that.
Already tense. I'm already feeling the tension. Okay.
And then and I think Dan he said something and he didn't mean it like maliciously or anything, but in that moment I was already so like frustrated and just so burnt out over it. And then he said this one thing and I was just like, you what? And I stormed out and left. And so Dan was living with Chris and Elsa back then.
Yeah.
And I think they were in the lounge room and I couldn't even look at them. I just ran out. So I think that was our biggest fight, probably to date. Do you think?
What did you
For
say?
me, that
What did you
felt
say,
like
Dan?
it.
Honestly, I don't remember. No, that's the thing. I think our approach to the wedding plan is very different. Like,
Do you guys DIY most of yours?
I mean, she wants to. That's the thing. That's her own fault.
Oh boy.
I remember you had the.
I'm starting to see
the
why there was a
cricket.
fight.
Yes.
Yes, the
Love
cricket. Yes.
But honestly, I don't remember exactly what is it. I don't remember what is it. But I remember she left and then she drove. But the thing is, I don't know if it's creepy, but we are fine friends of each other.
Oh, yeah.
So I check where is she. I just want to make sure she didn't do anything dumb, you know? So I saw her driving and then I'm just trying to be romantic. So I drive and chase her up. And then by the time I get there, she went home already.
Oh my gosh.
So I just, you know what? I can't be bothered going home. I'm just going to stay there. So I stayed there for like 15 minutes, just relaxing on the car.
Wait, so you didn't go in?
No, so she went to...
Like a park or something. And I just was gonna like
Scream
sit
into
there
a pillow
for a
or
little
something.
bit. And then I think like by the time he drove there, because like he wouldn't be checking it the whole time
when
while
he's
he was
driving. Yeah,
driving,
true.
I was already like on the way home.
So you just sat in the dark park, mulling life.
Very responsible
Literally.
citizen.
Just
That's
to
so
make sure
funny.
she's okay. Okay, that's the highlights.
It was very sweet.
So I make sure that she knows that I chase her. So she knows.
You make sure. I just came to the park. Where are you?
I make sure that she knows. So she knows that I give a good gesture, you know? And I think that's important.
That is important. We had a very, very similar situation, like extremely similar. I
Josh
can't
looks
remember.
guilty. Josh looks guilty.
Yeah,
I feel you, Josh.
almost the exact same. Like regarding like planning, I'm the same. Wanted to DIY a lot. Didn't have the capacity working full time. Also, we had family flying in from interstate. We had like a lot of like also trying to find a house together. You're like planning a holiday. Like it's literally every change in your life at the same time. And it's like so intense. And it was similar, like something that I can't even remember what we were arguing about. But yeah, there was something little that Josh just hadn't done. And we realized in this process actually that I would always be thinking about the wedding. Like at every kind of spare brain moment that I had, I was like, oh, I wonder about this. I think about this. And then Josh would only think about it when confronted about it. Like only if I sat down with him and was like, hey, let's talk about the wedding. He'd be like, oh yeah. And then be like amazed
thing.
at everything I've done.
That whole thing.
Yeah. And so we were on our way to a party actually, or like a friend gathering thing, and had like our biggest fight, probably biggest fight to date as well. And ended up still going to the party and having a good time afterwards.
And ended up still getting married and having a good time afterwards.
There you go. There you go.
Josh like really trying to cement. We're fine, guys.
We're fine.
Everything's
Really
fine. I promise she's forgiven me.
No, but it does like highlight a lot of planning inconsistencies between people. And if you like things a certain way, it's hard.
Yes.
So I find this interesting. So let's piggyback on this because I think it's an important thing. So when you get married, you obviously do move in together. Sometimes you have lived separate, whatever. I find it very interesting, and I'm just going to ask you guys, be vulnerable here. Who carries the mental load of running your home?
What do you think?
What do you mean by
Answer?
mental load?
As in, like, who is thinking in the back of their mind, oh, man, there's some loads of laundry to do. Dishwasher needs to be unpacked. That thing hasn't been cleaned in a while. Oh, who's going to do the grocery budget? Oh, we need to go and get this for the pantry. Who's got that kind of mental load of running the logistics of the home?
Interesting.
I can speak first, and I think Saleh gave me the mic so that I can speak on her behalf. I think Saleh runs the house. In terms of mental load, I still do things, but usually it's by the guidance of Saleh. I try to do like I'm also
I try to take initiative.
Yeah, I try to
but
take
then
initiative.
I do it wrong.
I'll do the bed sheets and whatnot. But an example of Sally's just better at things as well. Like she's quicker, and I noticed this because she had the morning to herself on Sunday morning, and went to the 11 o'clock gathering, and we got home and everything, all the chores around the house were done, and I was like, when did you have time to do this? If it was me, I would be like, hey, I emptied the dishwasher. Like, are you proud of me?
Yeah. Wanting affirmation being the key there. Are you proud
Yeah.
of me?
It's true. It's true.
Oh, puppy dog.
What do you think?
Oh.
I think we have different roles. Like Janice is obviously like what Josh was saying. She's much better with chores. She cook. She sometimes she did laundry. A majority of the time now. But
Especially if yours is next to the basket. It's like you're clearly not really caring.
But at the same time, for me, I'm more about. I think for finance, I'm more to the point. I think we make it quite strict when we just got married. We see it and then we just budget in terms of like how much we can spend. I think I'm a bit better with that. But in terms of executing it, Janice is better. So she's normally the one that do the groceries. She did like we've been trying to do meal prep. So actually she is the one that do shoppings. But at the same time, we both kind of look at like how much left we have to spend for the week. Whether we need to tweak. But yeah, she's like what Salah did, like what Josh said. Like Janice can like go like in the morning on Sunday. She did like the house cleaning, but the difference is she just doesn't come to church. She just watch it online. She's like, oh, I'm in
Under
the
the
online
bus.
church.
Yeah, it's home
Online,
church.
sorry, online church.
Get called out.
Yeah, no, I would agree. But I think also that was like a big frustration point for me at the start. I was just like, I don't know if you remember, but I was just like, why don't you just take initiative with things? And, but I think all of these things were going on in my head. And I was like, okay, I need to do this. But I didn't really communicate that to Dan. And that wasn't necessarily something that just popped up in his head to do. I think you were saying before, like it is just different ways of thinking. But that was so frustrating for me because I was just like, I just have to do everything and I feel like I'm just like managing you. But I don't think that way anymore.
A lot of growth's happened in 10 and a bit months.
And you can't read minds. You don't get married and suddenly have the ability. And we did. Yeah. Anyway, you can elaborate.
No, I totally agree. Like the assumption that you have that they have the same thoughts as you is what like kills it.
Yeah.
Because there's no way they're thinking of the things that you are.
Yeah.
And I think like, definite differences in strength as well. Like I'm able to think these things through, but then Josh is thinking about a million other things and like, and then like we delegate these tasks as well.
Yeah.
Like I have no idea about cars. All the car issues we've had, Josh has dealt with. But then sometimes I do have to remind him to deal with them as well. But it's like, but I think I've come to terms with that situation.
Yeah.
And like, acknowledging that that's okay. And if it's not okay, then it needs to change, obviously. But like, we're in a space where it's good for us and it works for us.
The reason I bring this up is because it's fascinating. A couple of years ago, we came across this thing called the Fair Play Deck. I don't know if you guys have heard about this. Okay,
Yes.
Okay, go on. What do you remember about Fair Play Deck?
So I think I was listening to like a podcast, and then he was talking about how he did it with his wife, and so it's like pretty much every task you would have in running a household. And you kind of divide it up. But I think it's also not like you just split it in half. It's also kind of like, okay, you're really good with finances. That's your card. Or like you really like to fold the laundry in this way. So then I would take that one. And then it kind of goes into like if you have kids, then it's all like the doing up the forms and like, so it pretty much went through everything and then splits it up in an even way, like work-wise.
Exactly right. So the idea would be that you can kind of take ownership of a job. So it's like bins. No one wants to do that job, but it's like, okay, well, it's on the deck. Someone's got to take it. And then whoever takes it, it's like, okay, now it's your responsibility. And that should no longer be in your, like if, like let's say it's between you two and Dan takes the bins card, Janice should never have to think about that.
I think it depends. Like the bin, sometimes you can press it more.
See, that sounds to me like someone who wants to take ownership of the bin card.
You can leave it a bit longer. Hey, you don't do that,
That's a
Josh?
good one.
I think it's just me then.
Like push down. Like if there's leaves in there, maybe, but I'll get on there and stomp it. But I'm not gonna push down on the garbage bag. Get
when
bugs
it's
on me.
when it's in the house, like in the bin.
This is so-
yeah.
This is so weird. That is a really weird niche.
That's your skill, is it, Dan?
Yeah.
I
Pushing
would-
down
I would
so that you don't
also
have to
say-
take the bins
yeah,
out.
no, but I think it's both of us. So
Both
then
of
the
you were
bin-
like, well, I didn't put the last thing in.
Yeah.
Someone else has got to take
It's
it.
like
There's still room.
opposite
There's
of
like a centimetre there. I can still fit something in
opposite
there.
of a Jenga pile or
Yeah.
a Jenga tower.
Yeah,
You're like
yeah.
adding
Yeah.
until
Surely that bag's ripping.
So
What do you
we
guys
get
buy the big dogs?
Yeah, we get the Costco ones, and they are so strong. They're so good.
Wow,
yeah.
okay, good pro tip.
Yeah.
wedding tip right there,
Wedding tip.
marriage tip.
Yeah.
Marriage tip. Costco bin bag and stuff. The absolute stuffing out of your trash. Love it. All right, let's talk this weird concept of marriage. Oh, actually, okay, this is maybe a terrible question to ask, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Why did you get married?
That is a good question.
All right, I feel validated. They're thinking this is a good thing.
Well, I'm sure there's many reasons, but I think because we loved each other, we love each other. That's
We
my
loved.
top. That's my
We
first thought.
Then we got married. Oh boy.
We love each other, right, Sally?
Yeah, agreed. I think also it makes sense from a like because we wanted to live together and things like that, and we decided to wait until we were married to do that. Like from a life perspective, it's good to have. Yeah, I don't know. Like we wanted to live together, have our finances together, like be a unit and a family. And so instead of just moving in, like we, because of our faith, wanted to get married.
Yeah, I guess we would be very similar. And like, I don't know, is that just for everyone then? Because it's kind of like that next step. And then you kind of want to, I feel like, yeah, that is that kind of that next step to get to know the person more, to develop that relationship more. But also like marriage is biblical, right? Like it is that, like you're entering into that covenant. And so, yeah, naturally it was kind of like the next step for us.
Do you feel like the reason I ask it is because I feel like there's like a cultural weight within Christianity that's like, well, if you're dating, you got to get married. Did you guys ever kind of feel the pressure internally, externally, like, oh, if we don't get married, people are going to ask questions?
I think we definitely felt it. We were dating for a long time before we got married.
How long is a long time? Like
We
years?
were dating for 6 years,
6
I think,
years.
before we got married
Okay, and you started dating at?
at 16.
Wow.
So we've been together for almost 9 years now. So
Wow.
it got to the point where it was like, well, we do so much of life together and like we are in that relationship that's super serious. But
And
we
correct
had-
me if I'm wrong, you moved interstate?
I did,
for
yeah.
this? Yeah.
Yeah. So I moved
Jeez.
like 4 years ago.
Hmm.
So yeah, I think for us, like also moving into state, I was like, well, now I'm living with housemates, which is fun, but like I want to live with Josh. Like we're here to be together. And yeah, we wanted to like cement that in our faith as well. But yeah, I did feel, even though we got married quite young, like we were both 23, because we'd been together for so long, it felt that expectation of like, oh, you guys should be married already. Because other people, I think it's just a Christian thing to get married quite young. Like a lot of our friends had gotten married and we were kind of not lagging behind, but we were waiting, you know, until we felt ready for it.
I think you felt the pressure a lot more than I did. just
Glad we're having this
speaking the
conversation.
truth. But I feel like in terms of the dating to marry, that was always kind of like the idea, right?
Yeah.
Like for us.
So 16-year-old Josh is like, I'm going to marry this girl.
I would say so. I think
That's very sweet.
Yeah. I think maybe Saleh wasn't at that because we had conversations about marriage and then
At 16?
No. Oh.
I mean, we did talk
We
about
did,
it
we
when
did.
started
Wow, okay.
But like later on, We also broke up at one stage. We broke up when I was just turning 19.
Why'd you break up? What'd you do?
I had moved to Melbourne for 6 months, and then I was moving back to Perth because I was still a child and did not know how to live a life of my own.
Yeah.
And I think that stress of going back to long distance, and we were like arguing a lot and hadn't really built our own lives as adults yet.
Interesting.
Yeah, because we were becoming adults. Like we'd both graduated high school. I was at uni. Like we were just starting to figure out who we were as people, and I don't think we were always aligning. And so there were things that we were just arguing about all the time. And so I called it quits.
That was definitely not a we. Josh was not on
It
board.
wasn't a full we. We had
We're
discussed
done.
it though.
Go back to Perth.
But it was kind of like a natural progression of like, oh, you're leaving, we're fighting, things aren't lining up. Maybe it's time to stop. But we were only broken up for about a month. And then we got
Oh, wow. Real iron will
and then we
summer.
got back together.
We did lots of growing in that
that
time.
month.
Yeah.
Wait, who initiated the going back together?
Well, we actually we had bought tickets to see Gang of Youths in Melbourne, a band. And
So you had to go back.
And so we were already talking, and I was like, well, I guess I should just still come to Melbourne and
Yeah,
we
like,
could go
we have the
together
tickets. We
as
might
friends.
as
Go as
well.
friends.
And so we have them to thank. But the whole point of saying that was that after we got back together, we could then know we were a bit more sure that we were in it for the long run. Like we were keen to get married because we had been through a breakup. We had our priorities set,
Yeah.
and then boom, we were like, I think that was
And I think we both grew because of the breakup and like matured because of it as well. And like,
Yeah.
I think it was necessary for our relationship.
Yeah. Yeah.
What about you guys?
Wow.
Wait, hang on. I want to come.
Oh,
Who kissed
sorry.
who at the concert? How did you? Who initiated?
Weren't there fireworks like
Oh,
that
come
before
off
we even,
it.
or something like that? I feel like it was a long time ago.
I think it was definitely mutual. Like
Mutual.
when he bought the tickets for the
Josh must be one too. Like,
Yeah.
exactly
Yeah, if he flew all that way.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Buying the flights was like, oh yeah, we're getting back together. You know, like
Yeah.
it was kind of
Yeah.
yeah
The writing
But-
was on the wall.
yeah yeah mutual. Right?
For us, I think because we got together a little bit older. Like, how old were we? I don't even know. It's been like, what, 3 years? 4 years?
2021. So you're 25.
Yeah. So then I think at that point, you're kind of also like going into like, okay, my friends are getting married. Like, it's kind of like the next step. And I don't know if I necessarily felt a lot of pressure, but I think maybe like I kind of put that on myself as well, more than from other people. Also of like, you know, like I'm getting older, like if I want to have kids and like all of that kind of thing, which
Yeah.
is, I feel like it's only kind of natural. Yeah. What do you think? Did you feel like much pressure?
In terms of pressure, I don't feel pressure to get married, but my thought when we come to relationships has always been about marriage. So I'm not, I don't like just dating someone and then we don't get married. So I think it's quite interesting. Like me and Janice, when we first started getting pretty close, I actually told her like if we're gonna date, like I'm gonna marry. I think it's very, I don't know, it's very straightforward. I was like, oh, is she gonna back out or not? I remember I have that conversation because it's important for me. I don't want to waste your time. I don't want to, I mean, maybe I did a little bit waste your time, but at the end it worked out. So I think for me, my idea coming to a relationship, yes, it is actually. I don't feel the pressure to find someone. I'm 20, 25 back then. I never feel the pressure that I have to find someone, get married. But I know it's pretty clear for me once I date, I don't want just to date just for the sake of fun. But I think just finding someone that can complement. Yeah, I think it's important for me. And yeah, we never gone through breakup.
Never broken up. Wow.
Never break up. Because we only date for how long? 2.5 years. 2 years before we got
But
engaged.
at like a quarter of a century, you've got a bit of life in you. You know, you're not
Yeah.
you guys probably a bit more like secure in who you were as individuals, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I think so. Like I think by that point we were already like working full time. We kind of had like steady incomes, had a solid like group of friends, had like lived a little bit, I guess. Still like somewhat sheltered, I feel, but yeah, had
You're
kind
looking
of
at Dan
some
like, Dan, you've been pretty
No,
sheltered, bud.
sorry, I'm looking at myself. But yeah, like I think we had learnt some life lessons by that point. So yeah, it wasn't too bad.
Actually, I remember what Janice mentioned earlier because, like what she said, we date when we're a bit older than you guys. For women, I don't know. No, in general speaking, I think they tend to be a bit worried about their age, especially in Asian background. Yeah, like you want to have kids before certain age. Like you can be like in a higher risk when you're like certain age, and I think that's one thing that we kind of figure out when we first date. Like because I want to know like, okay, what's your plan? Like when do you want to have kids? So we kind of count back. Okay, it's a pressure at the same time, but I think it's knowing where you guys at is quite important. Especially I want to honor her as a woman, like when she want to have kids, because I think once you have kids, your life stops for a little bit and then you go back and stop again, stop. It could be like it's a hard thing, but yeah, I don't know. What do you think when I talk to you like this straight, like I want to get married if I date you? Were you scared?
Yeah, what was that like?
I think I wasn't completely surprised because we were like 25. And I think growing up in a Christian household, you know about marriage and like
For anyone listening, Daniel just forced the mic closer to Janice.
so marriage is always kind of in the back of your head. I maybe wasn't completely like on the same boat as you, and it wasn't like if we date we have to get married. Like I think you can still date with like good intentions of being like, okay, I'm not just dating for fun. Like marriage is a possibility, but it's not like for certain that we have to get married.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think
It's almost like it's a time to analyze their character, right? Like,
Yeah,
like with the
exactly.
intention of like, if I'm going to spend my life with this person, is this actually the person
Yeah.
that I want to spend my life
Yeah.
with?
Yeah.
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 On the individualism stuff, what do you feel like has been, like once the curtain has been drawn back, what do you feel like you have felt the most exposed in your own sin? Like, okay, now this person fully knows me. I can't hide anymore. What do you feel like has been the hardest thing for you to kind of come to terms with? Of like, oh wow, I really am that selfish, or like,
Yeah.
if you don't have to,
Yeah.
but I think it's a fun question.
Yeah. I think for me, one of the biggest things was my pride. And I never like thought of that as a big thing for me. But I think like my pride in that I always thought what I did was right, or like what I was thinking was right. And Dan, I know like he had his own opinions and things like that, or the way that he wanted to do things. But I was just like I don't understand like why you would do it that way, or like why
would you do it the wrong
think
way?
it.
That makes
Yeah.
no sense
Yeah.
at all.
So I think that was something that I really had to deal with. And then also like with that, also like my own stubbornness of like, it's literally my way or the highway kind of thing. And I think because, and maybe that's even because like we started dating a little
She's
bit.
the firstborn too.
Yeah, maybe it's that, like a firstborn. Yes, first granddaughter marrying the youngest in his family. But yeah, I kind of felt like I had to, and maybe that's also like a loss of control in like a sense as well, in like this is the way that I want to do it, so you kind of just have to follow along because this is how I've always done it. So that was also a big adjustment for us as well when we first moved in together. Because it isn't just like my wants and my needs anymore. It is actually, I have to be considerate of Dan, and I actually have to
It's a whole
think
other
about
person
her.
in my life now.
I know. But I think you know these things like going into marriage, like it's just in your head. And even when we did like Before I Do, like PD told us all of these things, and then in that moment you're like, oh yeah. But I think until
Yeah,
you,
of course.
yeah,
We'll fix that.
I was just like, yeah, like of course, like I know that. But I think until you're actually in the situation and you actually have to live through it, it's so different to knowing it in your head. But
So
that was
true. It's
my
like, I've got
biggest
great
thing.
advice on that. It's like, oh, what was it like for you when you went through it? It's like, I've never been through it. Got great advice on it though. It's like, oh, okay, well that's useless.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you guys? Or
Dan,
Yeah.
have you got? For me, I'm always impressed by Saleh's habits, like her good habits and spiritual habits, and her like growth in her relationship with Jesus. And it points out the flaws in my relationship and my habits. And then so that's like probably the biggest thing for me. That is always a challenge. And then also like from that, I always end up thinking like, am I holding up my end of the bargain of like the marriage promise that we make to each other? Like, am I the leader of the household type of thing? And it's like a challenge all the time whenever I see that. And I'm very impressed by Saleh.
Wait, when do you find out about that? Like, was she always been like that, or is it something that she's growing?
Oh, yeah, I think you've always been or more than me. You've been more like, you like keep me in check kind of thing.
Maybe more disciplined by nature.
On this, actually, that's what I found out is probably my biggest flaw. How I track success for myself, and like
Interesting.
having these really like good habits and these tick boxes that like I think are the right thing to do or lead to happiness. And Josh has shown me how to sometimes the things that I think I'm ticking off that are right are actually holding me back from like intimacy with someone, or like being able to like, for example, I am like really strict about how much sleep I get, and Josh is really chill about that. And to the extent where I'm like, I want to leave young adults right now because I need to go to bed right now. But I've chilled out in that sense because I've realized that by being slower in how I move, the more intentional I can be. And like maybe me leaving young adults right now is preventing me from having that one conversation that I need to have. And like by ticking the box of going to young adults, that doesn't mean that I've gotten to the point where I need to be, if you know what I mean. Like maybe
So it's
I'm
almost like
missing
what's
something.
been exposed is like this doggedness to like, that's the rule. I'm going to follow the rule.
Yes.
Because someone told me that's the rule.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
And it's like, oh, well, maybe that's a cultural narrative or like a family narrative or whatever.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah,
And like
fascinating.
that fastness is what like the speed at which life is going is like success for me.
Because Saleh's so like fast and like efficient at everything. Even the things that are meant to be like, no, take your time with this. She's like,
I saw 44 people today. 44 of them. I had a great conversation with every single one.
did you have more to add? Or
No, just that you're better in that sense.
Thank you.
Wow. Awesome.
For me, I think it's very similar to Janice actually. Like, I'm actually quite a prideful guy as well. I would say I'm quite prideful. I think it's just in the early of our relationship, one thing I realized is I feel like I expect Janice to be on the same page with me in terms of like we did like a Bible study. So I expect her to like, okay, let's do this. I think God gonna speak to you. God gonna speak to me. I think my mindset coming into that is very, not selfish, but it's just like very for me. You know, like it's more like I just expect Janice can, because it's Christian thing. I expect that she will experience something with God herself. So I think sometimes that's one thing that I learned lately is just that my faith is I need to understand her where she's at as well. At the same time, we kind of have to meet in the middle. Maybe there's one point where I just need to do it on my own. It doesn't necessarily I need to I don't know. I just be on the same page. But I think that's one thing I know. I realized in the beginning of our relationship. That's one thing. I can see myself be a bit more my flaws in a way. Is it? Do you think?
I think maybe you had good intentions by it. But like maybe my way of connecting with God is different to your way of connecting with God. But yeah, I don't think you were like malicious in the way you were like, we're going to do this Bible study together.
And if you don't.
Yeah.
I actually find that one fascinating. So I don't know if you guys have, I guess you guys are 10 months in, so you might be there, but probably more pattern would be for you guys of like that, like strengthening of each other. So like we've been married 9 years now, and there'll be seasons where like one of us is like in a really great place in faith of like whatever it is. Like it might not even be spiritual disciplines. It might just be like, oh yeah, I'm just in a great season where I feel loved by God. I feel like I'm following God or whatever. And the other person's not. And you're like, oh, what a great thing that you can kind of fill my tank with your faith. And then when I'm down, you can fill my, like, I, you know, like just a little vice versa situation I find fascinating. On that though, what's it been like kind of navigating? Because like, hopefully I don't expose any like major issues here, but like, I think what I'm trying to get at is the veil really is torn once you're married, because you become one flesh, you become a unified unit, and you're basically like, okay, we're in it together. Were you like, now that you know the person completely inside and out, were you like, oh, this is different to what you were like when we were dating? In like did you kind of have that shock at all?
I think for me, not really actually. I think both of us, I mean, I'll try to be as genuine when we date. Like I told Janice, like my tendency, like how I normally react. I'm actually quite upfront with her since the beginning. I feel I'm trying to be as natural. And same with Janice as well. I think she's very consistent. Like we never really find anything surprises in that way. But again, I think it could be our age. Like maybe our characters already been more developed by then. Yeah, no surprises for me, surprisingly.
Good.
Yeah. No, I'd say the same. Yeah.
I think for us, or for myself, I would say no unhappy surprises. Only good surprises, to be honest.
Go on, give us a good surprise.
Like being able to, I don't know, good surprise. In the mornings, every morning we have coffee together. And it's like a beautiful, very fun, like it's what gets us both out of bed, and it's like really nice. And we'll kind of take turns, and like Josh usually makes a lot more than me, but it's like a beautiful like ritual that we have, and we wouldn't have had that kind of like depth of relationship before we were married. That's a very surface level example, but it does go deep.
And I think that is what's fascinating with marriage, right? Is it is just surface level habits that form a deeper, almost like a liturgy, where it's like, what I mean by liturgy is like a something that is repeated often that builds a deep pathway. And that is, it is just that liturgy of the ordinary. It's like we're just getting coffee together, but it's different because we're in a home together and we're doing it in our kitchen, and it's something we do every single morning, and it becomes almost, like 100%. A part of who you are.
Yeah. And it does like that. It's like one step towards like intimacy together, because we're spending time together, and we're like the first thing we do is like have coffee together, which is really nice. So like, unexpected surprises in the best way possible, because you get to know each other on such a deep level, such an intimate level.
Very good. Is that?
No, I agree.
Okay, I agree. What about this idea? holiness, not happiness. Are you guys familiar with this, like the role of marriage to form you as more holy people rather than happy people? Has that come true for you in any way yet? By more holy, this sounds Christianese. Let me make it more clear. It's like more like Jesus rather than
Yeah.
like get married and you'll just have like the happiest life ever.
Yeah, yeah. I think the idea of like being happy is quite like it's quite cultural. Like everyone wants to be happy, but I think that's also quite flawed in that like happiness I think is quite self-centered in that like you'll always be, I guess, doing something to be happy. Whereas I think for me, like holiness and I guess the process of like sanctification and to be more like Jesus, I think that takes it away from just being about yourself and more about, I guess, like what does Jesus want for us? Like he calls us to love God, to love others, to make disciples. So I think in that kind of sense of like holiness versus happiness, holiness for me just feels like something that we can kind of do together. Like you were saying before, like we can kind of spur each other on. Whereas, and you can still be happy within that. It's not like happiness is like this horrible
Can't
thing.
be married and hate each other.
Yeah. But I think for me, happiness and the idea of kind of seeking happiness and placing your everything you have into happiness, can just be a little bit more self-centered and a bit more. It's about me, what I want.
It's like this person will provide for me
Yes.
the fulfillment that I desire.
Yes.
And if they do not, then what are they to me? You
Yeah.
know, which is like such a dangerous way to think, isn't it?
Yeah. No, exactly. Yeah.
I feel like I definitely agree, but I kind of lean towards what you were saying. Like you can't be in a marriage and be sanctified without being happy to an extent as well. Like I do think chasing happiness isn't the right thing, but to be able to function as a couple that like is representative of God's love for each other, there needs to be obviously some kind of level of enjoyment of each other's company as well. And I feel like sometimes this concept of like happiness not being a priority can lead to, I don't know, some like negative connotations in the church regarding like when do you kind of give up on a marriage or like if there's like a lot of hurt from abuse or something like that, then like that kind of happiness is still like important because how are you refining each other in that? And there can be kind of a spiral into like, oh well, because you're in a covenant relationship, then I don't know, that opens a whole nother.
It can become abusive. That's what you're saying.
Yes.
Yeah. I hear what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a very good red flag. Yeah.
I think, you want to be careful not to, because it's sort of a cliche, the whole holiness instead of happiness that people say. But for someone who has gone through like an abusive marriage or an abusive relationship, being like, oh yeah, but marriage isn't supposed to be happy. Like that, when it gets taken too far, then it can be really harmful. But I was just thinking like in terms of, I think it's a very valid thing to say because when you say your vows, you're saying for richer, for poorer, like in sickness and in health. And so you're kind of saying when I'm happy and when it doesn't serve me, I'm going to be married to you. Yeah. So, and then in that you're also mirroring the relationship of Jesus and us, and we do horrible things that don't make him happy. So like, I think it's a very valid point, and you shouldn't chase happiness.
It's a difficult conundrum, right? And this is the difficulty of living in a fallen world where you kind of got this desire in all of us to love and to be loved. And humans bring us joy, right? Like, it's not like you guys would have got married if you didn't enjoy one another. Yeah. I think the difficulty is when that person becomes almost like God to you, where you're like, who would I be without this marriage? Or where would I be without this marriage? I think that's where it starts to get a bit dangerous because it's like, number one, it's a lot of pressure for that person to carry the weight of, like that only God can do that. But then I think also you kind of maybe misunderstood on what the purpose of that marriage is, possibly.
And I do feel like this kind of leans into why do people who are not Christian get married? Like, what is the purpose of marriage for them, if not then just happiness? And like maybe that ties into why the divorce rates are so high. Like, if people are chasing happiness, that person's not going to feel that. And so then you're going to end up being unhappy and then leave that relationship. But I feel like in a Christian marriage, you're like spurring each other on in Jesus, and like you know that the sanctification comes through the hard times and things like that as well, and you're consistently like spurring each other on. But that's why I kind of get confused when people who aren't Christian still choose to get married, because it's kind of like what for? I don't know.
Tell us how you really feel, Sally. Honestly, it is an interesting one because, I mean, I don't know how familiar you are with the stats, but like basically divorce went through the roof once no-fault divorce got legalized. So you used to have like legal grounding to be able to engage in a divorce. No-fault divorce, I think, was brought in, I'm not even going to guess, but it was basically like maybe the 40s or 50s, but like once it got brought in, it just was like through the roof, because basically it was, well, this person's no longer fulfilling my needs of like whatever it is, and so then of course you just get divorced. Do you feel like that's a different rule, quote unquote, for Christians?
As in like divorce?
Yeah, let's get into it. Come on. With all of your experience of marriage, let's talk divorce in Christian circles.
Sorry for bringing it up.
I feel like you.
I guess like what was your? I guess my thinking is, when you came into the marriage, are you thinking, I'm in the waiting room, I've come in through the front door, I can see the back door, and I'm going to keep it unlocked just in case? Or are you like, I'm come in, I've closed the front door, I've locked the back door, I'm in this for life? Which of those two more resonates, I guess?
I think for me, definitely the second. And I think this is something we've spoken about a bit in the first 2 years of marriage. I think especially with the hard times and the tough conversations, we have a rule that it's never brought up. Breakup is never an option. As bad as the D word is off the table at all times, because it's never going to happen. And like that in any argument, no matter how bad it gets, it should never be raised, because it creates a lot of uncertainty between both people and like hurts a lot and is not helpful to figuring out the issue that you're faced with. And so going into the marriage, that should never be, in my opinion, should never be an option, because otherwise you shouldn't be getting married in the first place. I remember when I was like 17 or something, I met this older friend of mine, and she had a tattoo of her wedding band because she was a nurse. And I was like, oh my goodness, you got your wedding band tattooed. That's crazy. Like, that's forever. And she was like, marriage is forever. Like, you shouldn't be shocked that this tattoo is on my finger, because in theory, it's never ending. And I was like, wow, that's a really good point. I'm such a child. But like, that is like the concept that stuck with me this whole time. And I feel like, as a person in general entering a marriage, it should never be, you should never have that crack open, personally.
Yeah.
Unless, of course, there is like abuse or any of that stuff that like is like unlawful or like clearly biblical, is like, no, we're not doing that. I agree 100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're locked in, Dan. Janice is like, you want to talk, buddy? You want it? Anything more to add?
Sam, obviously. I think for us, we actually break the door and then we build the bricks.
Build it in. Oh, wow.
So there's no more
it.
chance. I
Are
know,
you
for
okay,
sure. I
Janice?
think
Blink twice if you need help.
I think that's one thing. I'm grateful for my family. Like, I think I can be who I am right now because of like my mom's prayer. I think she's always been very big
Your mum
about
is a
it.
saint.
Yes, shout out to Tante Julian. That's my mom, by the way.
We got it.
In case you guys don't know. But I think it's just building in my in my faith, in my mindset, I think it's never been an option for sure. I think like even with Janice, I don't know whether I speak for her, but even like in her family, I spoke to her grandma in the past, her hearing stories about her grandpa, and I think we both very fortunate that we grow in a Christian family, like we got the same value, and I think that's kind of like without you realize when you grow up in a Christian family, you kind of have that seed. I think for me it's very important, and yeah, I mean, never been an option for sure. I think just to make it clear, I guess.
We got it extra clear.
Exactly. Yeah.
We brick that thing up, baby.
Yeah, no, I'd agree.
Can we? This seems to go so far back, but it'll make sense in a sec. Can we go back? Did you guys ask Dad for permission to get married?
I asked both parents.
You asked both parents? Yeah. Did you ask?
Did you?
Yeah.
I did actually. I did. I talked to the parents as well
Okay.
before. When did you ask?
Well, because they're in Melbourne, I had to ask when I was there at some point. I think
It was before buying a ring, definitely. But
Oh,
we had talked
interesting.
about, not definitely, but yeah, that's the decision we made. But it was after we had kind of decided as a couple. We were like, yeah, we're ready.
Yeah, so you guys had the conversation.
Yes.
You two had the conversation, then you had the conversation.
Yeah.
And then you asked the question.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. Same for you guys or different?
For me, I'm actually very spontaneous. Like I don't even know I'm gonna propose to her a week before that. So literally, like the story is we're in YA camp. I was like packing up the cables and stuff, and the car was there. I was like, "Hey, are you free tomorrow?" Like, I got like a day off on that week, and then we having like a side visit to where we got married, Sandalford. So we have a visit on a Thursday, and I was like, you know what? I got a week off. Why don't I just look for a ring? And I let you ask Anika, are you free tomorrow? I was like, yeah, I'm free. And then we went out to the city. We looked for the rings. We couldn't find it. And then the next day, I went again by myself, and I looked for a ring, and I found it. And on the Wednesday, that's when I talked to the parents. So actually, the thing is, I asked for blessings.
crazy.
Oh my God.
So
You are a wild
fast and
man.
loose.
So I asked for blessings. I was like, I'll talk to the parents because it's quite hard not to do it without her knowing because she have my fine friends. So I don't.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think she even
Why
gonna.
is Dan in the city again?
Yeah. Oh, in
Never
her
goes
parents'
to the
house.
city.
So I went to
Yeah.
her parents' house. Yeah. So that's even weirder.
Did you turn it off? Or
No, I didn't. So I did. So it's
Okay.
before
Stressful.
YA. After I finish work, I'll quickly go there and I'll go back here. So pretty much I asked for blessings in terms of getting married. I show her the ring and
Wow.
the mom and the dad. And I think I kind of know they kind of like me because I kind of, I'm pretty good with like, what's the nice word to say? I always treat her grandma very nice. I always
butter
like,
her up.
Yeah, like literally. I think I did pretty well with that.
Nice.
So literally, so Monday I went to the city, find for a ring, couldn't find it. Tuesday, went to the city. I can't remember where I found it, but on a Wednesday I already got it. I went to the parents, and on a Thursday, that's when I proposed to her.
Wow.
Well, in that short period of time, at the same time, is two of her friends is free somehow to be in the spot. They normally work, but they're available.
Wow.
And we got like Zaga is available also, so he helped us with taking photos. And I think everything is just planned pretty well. And knowing me, I'm not really good at planning in a long run. So I think at the same time, I was like, you know what? It's a great opportunity. Why don't I do it? But we already know we're going to get married. It's not like...
Like
We already-
you had spoken
Yeah,
and decided. Okay,
yes.
cool.
So we
Had you
already
showed him ring photos? Did you mind?
I think I had, but I was kind of just like, even I didn't really know what I wanted. Like, we didn't
Yeah.
go and try on rings or
Okay, fair.
anything. And then I also was like, so I generally am like quite an indecisive person. So I was just like, okay, just go with the basic like circle diamond. Like that'll be okay. Like that's
Yeah.
timeless. So I won't hate it like later
Yeah,
on.
nice.
Wow.
But
I think
we
that's
are
all I
taking
told you,
the
I don't know.
wedding venue, so we know we're gonna.
Yeah,
get
so you were
married.
going to
Yes.
Sandalford because
Yes.
you already knew. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a nice area. You know, like a lot of like greens there.
Yes.
So
Wow. Crazy.
yeah, but I did ask for blessings actually. Not really permission. I was like, oh, please bless me. So I get them to I have like an awkward hug at the end. And then her brother just finished shower. Jacob, come hug it, Daniel. You're gonna marry your sister.
Yeah. Because my family are like not, like we're not touchy people. I am not a touchy person. So I can imagine it was just so awkward.
No, it was lovely.
This is lovely.
Shout out to
If
Jenny's
you're
parents.
listening, mum and dad.
So my story on this is very funny. So Kira and I had been dating for 4 and a bit years. For context, Christians, Kira's parents are not Christians, and so I'm like freaking out, and her dad looks like Bruce Willis, and like he's an absolute weapon. Like honestly, like grew up like as a roofie, and then he was a cray fisherman, like runs a lawnmower business, like just like absolute weapon. And so then I'm like, hey, can we go get a beer on like this Sunday afternoon or whatever? He's like, yeah, sure. So then I'm like talking to him, but I don't have the courage to ask him. So, and like you guys can see, I'm like not the biggest guy, and I'm like 20 at the time. I'm not a big drinker. So he's like, another pint? And I'm like, sure. I'm like already kind of not in my right state of mind. So then I'm like 2 beers in, and I'm like, oh no, this has gone terribly. We're having this massive conversation, and after about an hour and a half, he just goes, mate, this whole time I thought you were going to ask for Kira's hand in marriage. I was like, thank you so much for bringing it up.
He brought it up.
And by the way,
Literally, I'm like, by the way. But I didn't even, and then this is the worst part. So I'm chicking out the whole time. And then I'm like, but also, I'm not going to ask you permission because she's not a piece of property. So I just thought, I'm just here to let you know that I'm going to marry her.
You really said
I
that?
literally, yeah. But the irony of the whole thing is like, I was not brave enough to actually even bring it up.
Yeah.
Oh.
Now, I remember exactly how I felt. I was in a car. I know I just have to move. So I didn't even think. I just get out my car, lock my car, knock the door. That's it. You know, literally, like, I'm so scared that actually I don't want to go down. But I just force myself, literally, just move.
Just
Get
do
it
it.
done.
Do it,
Just
Dan.
get it done.
Think about
But-
future Dan.
That's right.
We were watching, Saleh had gone out for a hen's night or something, and I was watching a movie with, we were watching Yellowstone. We just were like, oh, let's chuck it on.
Real
See-
highbrow.
First episode, there's sex scenes. There's
no.
like
I've
things
never-
getting
I've never
shot.
seen it.
It's like
Okay.
crazy.
Josh, alone with my parents.
Oh
Yeah.
no, with Saleh's parents?
Yeah.
No.
I'm gone.
And I think I recommended it. I was like, oh, Then
People have said this is good.
then I realized, this is the one night I have. So we turned off the show. And
No.
I'm like, by the way, I was just wondering, can I marry someone? Something along those lines. So,
Wow.
but like you, Dan, I was like, I just have to do it.
Literally.
Because I think we were flying out the next day. So, yeah.
But I have to ask on that spot as well because I don't have any other time.
Yeah, you had a 48-hour window before
24.
you... 24.
Yeah.
Literally the next day.
No option.
Yeah.
And then when I proposed to Janice, maybe I never proposed someone before. So,
Maybe. Maybe.
so when I went on my knees and then I opened the ring, I didn't put the ring into her finger. I just said, Janice, take it. And I asked her to,
we like kind of stood there for a little bit and we were like, okay, what do we do now?
so normally when you propose, you're supposed to take the ring, put it on the finger, right? I didn't do that.
Oh, you
Because-
just showed her the box.
Yeah, and then I asked her to get it. Janice,
Yeah.
take it. Like, because I've been holding it. I've been holding
Can't
it
you
for
see
a
all
while.
the work I've done for you? Can't you put some effort in?
I was like, and literally she took it and put it herself. So, rookie mistake. I don't think I'm gonna do it again because I won't have to do it again.
Yeah.
Glad you're not going to do it again. Dan.
The door's bricked up, right?
That's right.
Doors bricked up. Oh my gosh. The reason I bring this up, because I want to know how you guys manage to kind of navigate the biblical representation that, like, husbands, you are the head of your house, and then it's like almost a full chapter of discourse of like, love your wives like Christ of the church, which, a reminder, he died. Jesus died for and then it's like, wives also like, love your husbands, whatever. Like, it's like one line. Do you know what I mean? It's like, yeah, and also that would be helpful. But man, really wondering how you guys have navigated that whole situation of like men die to your wife, sacrifice for her so that she might flourish and be brought to life.
I think simple things for me that is quite important. If she's angry or if she's like doesn't want to speak to me and she decides to sleep outside, that's when I get quite angry. I say like, Janice, you sleep inside, I sleep outside. I think there's one thing I want to implement. Like if there's comes to a time where someone have to sacrifice, I want to sacrifice. I think that's quite important. Sleeping in a nice place rather than sleeping outside. Like a few times I brought it up. Like if I snore, like wake me up. I'll move. You don't move. So I think it's just the small things.
Dad wakes up one night and Janice is sleeping on the couch. Wakes her up. Listen here, woman.
No, this has happened before.
Okay.
I think I've like gone to sleep on the couch so the thing is with Dan, he falls asleep so fast.
Oh, I
And
hate people like that.
I need like complete silence, no light, and I have to lie there for like maybe 10 minutes before I'll fall asleep. But Dan, literally, he could be like in the middle of a sentence and he'll fall asleep. But so even if he's like, oh yeah, wake me up, then I'll be like, Dan. And then I'll be like, okay, he stopped snoring. And then like 2 seconds later, he'll just be snoring again.
on again.
So then, yeah, I have a couple of times gone and slept on the couch and then you'll come and wake me up.
Like make it even worse.
Yeah, I just want to sleep.
About it. But I think for me that's a gesture. No, I thought Janice, like, if anything, I don't know what else to say, sorry.
No. I saw this meme and it's like what I think of when I tell my wife that I would do anything for her, and it's like some guy in armor with a sword fighting a dragon, like trying to save the princess, and then it's like when all she really wants from me is to do the dishes. Like that's not what I had in mind when I said I would do anything for you.
Yeah.
So like I often think about, would I die for Saleh? And I'm like, yeah, of course I would. But then I'm like, would I live for Saleh?
Ooh.
And that's, would I do all the little things?
Yeah. Would I do the ordinary?
Yeah. Would you do the ordinary for your wife? And so that's a challenge. And that's what I was saying earlier about like Saleh's like habits and trying so hard to build that relationship. I often am like, as a husband, I'm called to be the head of the household. How well am I doing that? Am I putting unfair expectations on Saleh? And so I really want to do it, but actually getting it done is the hard part, I guess.
But what is your understanding about being the head of the family, though? Like, what's your understanding for that?
That's a good question.
Like, is it like doing? Yeah, I just wonder, what is it? I think because it's quite broad, right, or quite narrow at the same time. I don't know. It's like maybe this big.
But it's also here.
Like, yeah, I don't know, because especially in our culture, it's like you're like, I don't know, that women have a lot more independence, I guess, than in Bible times.
Yeah.
And the expectation is that you make decisions together. And I think that's what I would want. But I think as head of the household maybe would mean that Saleh can rely on me to like be the one who makes the final call, like be the decisive one in a situation where we can't decide it. Like we just can't come to an agreement. Then I can be the one who's confident enough to make the call, I think. Do you agree?
Yeah, I think so. I think there's some part of like spiritual leadership as well in another aspect, I think. I think like being the one that even if like maybe I'm not feeling like going to church, like if we were to start swaying or like pulling back from our faith, being like, no, like this is something that we are aligned on and we have to keep pushing. Go down. Yeah. But I don't think you've ever really had to do that, to be honest. Fortunately. But yeah, I feel like that's kind of it. And maybe like if we potentially had children as well, maybe like in that space as well, being like that leader towards Christ and like showing that in a fatherly aspect as well, I guess.
Yeah.
I think the idea of like leadership, you always think of it as like that, like you're at the top, like you call the shots, like that very like patriarchal kind of view of things. But I think like in leadership, you can also lead with humility and actually like realizing that actually like this is a partnership, that we make decisions together. Like I help you through this, and I think that is also leadership.
But it's a partnership.
Hmm?
It's one.
No, but like, do you know what I mean?
And I think this is the interesting situation is you are still one flesh, right? So you get married and you become this soul that is mingled together. But at the end of the day, like the model that the New Testament gives is be like Jesus, which is not now people go and do what I've asked. It's I will go and sacrifice myself. And I think that's what's so difficult about this. It doesn't sit well in our modern culture of like, oh, the man is the head of the household. Well, hang on a second now. That sounds a little bit authoritative. It's like, well, it's not a fun job. Like that is literally leverage your life so that other people will flourish. And I think it's a difficult thing to navigate. I just want to acknowledge it. We are very over time, so very rapid fire. Okay, very rapid fire. Couple of things here. We didn't even get to talk about intimacy. Everybody has asked me to talk to you guys about sex, but now we're not going to get time. That's annoying.
Oh well,
Everyone
what a
wants to
shame.
hear.
Everybody wants to hear. Okay, common misconception: marriage fixes everything. Has it fixed any problems for you?
Yeah, cooking problem.
Oh my gosh!
There's a lot to unpack there.
Let's move on quick.
No,
okay.
it doesn't solve problems. If you want to know, it doesn't.
It does not. It's the classic. Right? I don't think I've counseled anybody that's had marriage problems. I've counseled people that have had people problems that they brought into marriage.
Yeah.
Happy couples don't fight.
Strong disagree.
Yeah.
Happy couples know how to fight.
Oh, come on now.
That's good.
Very good.
That's good.
Oh, in our pre-marriage, hey, and it still comes up today. Our pre-marriage counsel was like, Alistair, you are not allowed to leave if you're in a fight. And still now, it's so terrible. It's one of my worst things, but I like shut down if we're like in a fight, and I'll be like, I just need some space, and then I'll like leave the room, and she's like, the counselor said you're not allowed to leave, and I'm like, I know, I'm the worst. It's like I thought I'd be better at this by now. Okay, we need to have it all figured out to get married. True or false?
False. I don't think we'll ever have it all figured out, will we, in life?
It's almost like we're in progress.
Wow. Little plug. Agreed, though. 10 out of 10.
I'd hope that you'd have some of life figured out before you get married, though.
Yeah, I think you need a little bit, right? Like you can't be 19-year-old Josh being like, oh, I don't know who I am, and Sally being like, well, I can't marry you, bud.
Yeah.
Like you kind of got to be a little bit.
Yeah.
Boom. Anything else
Yeah.
while we're here?
Any final
Intimacy.
thoughts? Any final thoughts? Take the mic just to like. You just wanted to look at your wife a little bit more. Look how beautiful she is. Oh my gosh.
I have a final thought.
Oh, okay.
Marriage has brought out many better character traits of myself as well. And Josh has taught me how to be a better person, and we can rely on each other's strengths a lot more as well and realize what your weaknesses are. Yeah. So it's a pro. Marriage is great.
Very good.
Yeah. I would agree. I think you kind of learn what each other's strengths are, and that does take time as well. I'm sure I'll still be learning. But also just to work with each other's strengths. I think that has been something that we are trying to do more of. So rather than it being like we all have to do this on our own, it's a team effort, which is nice.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
Teamwork makes the dream work. Very
Well,
right.
this has been a belter of a conversation. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. Ashton, poor guy, has been throwing his arms at me for like 20 minutes, being like, oi, moron. We're so far over. Hopefully the camera didn't die. Thank you guys so much for being on. That was episode 8, the Newlywed Chronicles. I had a very, very good time. Thank you for being here. And we'll see you guys next week for episode 9.
Bye.
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 Bye.